Hey, Cassandra, good to see everyone here. Let's make sure Mewbot is awake. We're going to wake up Mewbot. What questions are there right now? Got Mewbot waking up right there in the background. Cassandra, great to see you here. Drop the questions in the chat if you got them. Can you talk about number 3 on the 475 homework? Oh, of course. Might do a little section on the temperature question on the chapter 5 quiz part 1. What's the temperature question? Let's do the temperature, and then you got it right here, Colton. Let's go right here. So stat 201. We need a little music. Colton, good to see you. We'll do some 475. We'll do some 201. So stat 201, chapter 5, part 1. Empirical, yeah. Which one do you want to go over? Good to see you here, Jacob. And then we have 475, BS 475. Question 3. So homework 3, question 3. I think that's homework 3. And then stat 201, empirical rule. And then the chapter 5, part 2, question 1. Is that on the quiz or the homework? Stat 201, chapter 5, part 2, question 1. So if it's on the quiz questions change. If it's on the homework questions are consistent. So if it's the homework question, let me know if it's the homework, Briley, right there. And good to see you, Briley. Let's throw some points. The homework, then we can do it. So question 1, homework. Question 1. Okay, so we got some questions. We're going to do 475 second right here. I'm going to pull up the 201. Start here with a little 201, and then 475 next. And keep asking those questions. Love it. We got a bunch of people here. Someone remarked yesterday, I see that around 100, not just 100, we usually get like 10, 15 people watching live sometimes-ish, but then we have in the future, these videos get like 400 to 500 views sometimes. So just, wow. Thank you. Points if you're watching live though. So big thank you. I'm glad people can use these. Temperature question, chapter 5, part 1, temperature question. Let's go over here. Chapter 5, part 1. Why is my brain not remembering the temperature question? Temperature question. I think it's on the quiz, right? Do you have the start of that question? What is this? Morning, Leo. Good to see you here. The temperature question. Are you talking about the Canvas content? Is that what you're talking about, the Canvas content? With the temperatures of people, is it Canvas content temperature question? Oh, I think Leo's asking about that too, because we had, are you talking about the quiz? Someone said the quiz, and Leo, we can take a look at that too. Are you talking about, a little more chill music right here. Town's high January temperature. Let's do that. And Leo, we could do that here in a little bit. We could do you got Leo, I'll put that on there. Can you do the percent normal curve? Yeah. Put that on the list. We're pulling up the town's temperature. We're gonna do that one here first. We got Leo's question right down. Is it chapter 5, part 1? Yep, Jacob, you bet. Let me write these down so we don't lose them. Stat 201. Leo is wondering about average body, or stat 201, chapter 5, average. Let's do Canvas content. Average body temp. And on the average percentiles, can we solve it by hand? Alyssa said we can't use it. Correct. You will have to use the information given. Barrett, great answer right there. Cassandra, is it... I'm having a hard time finding... I know the temperature one. It's on quiz. Oh, I'm on part 2. That's the problem. And percent on normal curve, Mary Catherine Watts. You bet. Stat 205, chapter 5, part 2, percentiles on normal curve. We've got a great list of questions. Hey, Kayla. Yeah, I got a haircut. Trying to look good for the wedding. 2 months away, but kind of a starter haircut to basically have something to follow. And then hopefully it looks good for the wedding. And so keep dropping those questions in the chat. I know, right? I can't believe it. It's... Yeah, we should be seeing it. I'm trying to find that Towns question. I know it now that you say it. The January temperature it asks about. Oh my gosh. Found it. Chapter 5, question on the homework about mean weight of yearling cattle. Chapter 5, part 2, weights of cattle. We got a full list. Let's go check this out. Here we go. And so this right here is our first question of the day. And we have right here, town temperature question. So with this question right here, I know, hey, Calzone Tyrone, 100 points. I actually mentioned you last night, Calzone. If you want to show your points, fan favorite Calzone Tyrone is here. Hope you're doing well in the north if you're still up north. It's so good to see you here, Calzone Tyrone. We got a lot of fun. A town's temperature is 37 on average with a standard deviation of 11. That's in January. In July, they have a temperature of 77 and a standard deviation of 7. In which month is it more unusual? So I need your help here to think about how could we think about... Calzone's just got crazy hours. So we need to... But they've got the most hours of anybody. What should we do right here to turn these into a standardized way of looking at it? What could we do right here? Visualization 4 question coming up. Ooh. Student loans go under... What category? I'll take a look at that here in a little bit, Hope. Good question. I'll have to pull it up. We'll look at visualization 4 coming up. Good questions, Hope, right there. Visualization 4. Let me put it over here. Visualization 4. So what should we do to these values right here to standardize them? What should we do to these values to standardize them? How could we take 56 and standardize that temperature? So this is my question to you. We have here the value of 56, and we want to know when would it be more unusual from distribution A or distribution B. So here's the mean of A. Here's the standard deviation of A. Here's the mean of B. And here's the standard deviation of B. How could we figure out which of these is more unusual to see 56 degrees with? How can we figure out which of these is more unusual to see 56 degrees with? How would we know which of these is more unusual to see 56 degrees with? When we'd be like, that looks more unusual to me. Which of these, how would we know which of these is more unusual? What do you do to things to talk about if something is unusual? So we have here all the information marked. Which is further away from the mean? That is correct. That is correct. And Leo, you're totally on the right track. Not just which is further away from the mean, which is more what's from the mean. Let's write out the formula right here. This is the observation y in all instances, and the formula is y minus, there's the distance from the mean. We don't just want that. We want the what distance in terms of how many what's. So this is how we'd figure out how unusual something is, how far away is it from the mean, but also in terms of its distance in what units. So how many what's something is away, which is a z-score. Standard deviations, Leo getting some points for the class right there. How many standard deviations something is above or below the mean. So we have right here the observation in the first distribution is going to be 56 minus 37 over 11. And that equals to, is that 19? 19 degrees above over 11 equals to something. I think that's right. Distribution over there is 77. Oh my gosh, I didn't do the right observation. 56, which is below average, minus 77. And that looks to have a distance of 21. And so that's going to be 21 or negative 21 because that's below over 11. And so when we solve these, as long as I'm solving the mathematics correctly, please tell me if I didn't. 19 over 11 is 1.73. And that's how far above average this temperature is for this month. So that is kind of a little bit above average. And then how far below average this one is negative 21 divided by 11 and 2.07, negative 2.07, because it's below average. So this would be a much more below average temperature in July, versus how high this is in January. Like that's kind of warm in January, or that's a little bit colder than expected in July. So these are z-scores right here, which are standardized units of measurement to tell us how many standard deviations something is above or below the mean to give the answer right here. So good stuff. That should solve the answer. It is more unusual, so we would say that the July temperature is more unusual. In July, this is 2.07 standard deviations below the mean, and in January it was 1 point. Let's go zoom out right here. 1.73 above the mean. I think I did everything correctly. I hope I didn't make a math error. We are on a streak of no misses for quite a while right now. So 2.07 below and 1.73, as long as I haven't done a math error. Did a little bit of that in my head. Oh my gosh, what did I do? What did I do? What have I done? Let me check right here. July, there's the... Does it really count the whole thing wrong? Does everyone see what I did? Yeah, what did I do? Does everyone see the problem? I have gone too quickly. And what did I do wrong? The problem is in July... and it's right here it looks to be, I used the wrong standard deviation. So I used the wrong standard deviation value. It doesn't have the same standard deviation. Oh, so that's going to be nice and neat. So I'm going to go too quick. So that's still very unusual. So give you the whole thing wrong if you don't get it. Hey, Maria, good to see you here by temperature on the Canvas content. Yep, we got that coming up. We sometimes make an error right here. That happens. So July is this many standard deviations below the mean, unless I'm totally doing things wrong today. Oh my gosh. So what was wrong? What did we do wrong here? January, let's just solve it right here on the screen. Am I copying numbers down incorrectly? 56 minus 37. Brian can't math today. 56 minus 37 divided by 11. 1.7. And then what does it want? 3. 1.727. I'd give that to you. And it's not -3. Gosh, wow. That is not a strong start for the day. Jinxed us by saying we hadn't gotten anything wrong in a while, and now we got to restart that counter. But don't forget, if you did put this, we did have it correct basically for this one. We used the wrong standard deviation for the other one. If you were to make this error, now this does not have negative in front of it. I think it gives you it's wrong if it's negative. I would give you the points if you did that. So once again, hey, Kristen, good to see you here. My brain's just turning on right now. I lost my hair. I lost my knowledge. They just cut off all my knowledge right there. That's yep. But once again, if you were to put in this and you were to put in this and email me, I would give you full credit, even though that's a 0, because frankly, this is the same thing as this when you round it. And this is the correct answer for the z-score. Hey, Kristen. So let me know if you were to have errors like this. I'm always willing to give points back like that. But be careful if you put negative for this one, that would be wrong because that is not a negative z-score. So there are instances where forgetting the negative is going to cause problems. Where adding it, I could say you could get points because z-scores can be negative. But if you forget to put the negative when it says like, what is the z-score? That is a bit of an issue. So like I've had people email me and say, I forgot to put the negative on the z-score. It's a big issue to forget the negative on a z-score. But if we include it when it doesn't ask for it, we could say, well, we were just kind of telling the z-score. Anyways, good stuff right there. Let's head back to the main screen. No more errors. No more errors. It's hot in here today. No more errors. That's what we do right here. We get rid of all the errors. We're going to do a little 475, then we're going to go back to 201 here in a moment. Are we allowed to ask questions? Yeah, Kristen, I think we got some coming up. Let me know about the Canvas content. We got some coming up right here in a little bit, Canvas content questions. So drop those Canvas content questions in the chat, and we'll be checking it out. Ooh, a lot of people wondering about the Canvas content. Let's see. Assignment 3. Ooh. the Canvas content quiz. Can you help with chapter 5 homework? Yeah, Brianna, we've been doing some of that. Yeah. We've got a good bit of list of questions on here right now. So drop another question in the chat. We've got a bunch listed, but just ask a question. We've got homework question 1. We've got Canvas content, average body temperature, percentiles on the normal curve, weights of cattle. Just ask a question. I'll add it to the list. You got it. Let's head over and do a little 475. Then we'll come back here in just a moment. So 475, check it out. So BAS 475 is time series. And what's really interesting is we're actually going to be talking about this a little bit here in 201, the idea of time series and how to handle time data. So let's take a look at question number 3 right here. Okay. So it says use filter to find what days correspond to the peak closing prices for each of the 4 stocks in the GAFA stock. Now, I believe that's Google, Amazon, Facebook, and I can't remember the last one. What does it mean? Give us a picture of the normal curve with the shaded. Oh, yes. It says it equals a constant. I think so. I'm sorry. Yeah. You bet. How do we see material? You bet. So the GAFA stock, here it is right here. Let's load it up. And let's talk a little bit about it right here. Kind of starting off, question 3. We'll go library, FPP3. And keep, Kristen will definitely check that out. I think I know the picture when you're talking about the Amazon, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google. That is what the GAFA stands for right here. And so I don't think is it loaded up? It is loaded up. There we go. We don't have to load data. It actually loads in this once we load up FPP3. And so when you think about this right here, we're using what are called the dplyr methods to kind of sort through data. Let's just kind of look at some of these series. Probably we can just pipe this into an auto plot. I'm not saying these are the answers, but here we go right here. This is why we love it. This is why it's nice and easy to use the dplyr methods for relatively little work. For relatively little work, you can get a pretty nice and neat graphic pretty quickly. If you only want to look at Amazon, you could go over here and do the following. But we can get a time plot of the data relatively quickly for all the stocks right here. And this is all the code right here. Take GAFA stocks and plug them into the auto plot, then plug them right here. But what if, and here's a key word, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google are all what's in this data set. Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Google are all, could be considered what? Are they measures? Are they indexes? Or are they what's? They're the symbol. Hint, the symbols are what? It's on the screen down there. Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, they're all what's in this data set. Barrett, I like that answer right there. They're categorical. And we call those that we can split them apart on what's. So key terminology right here, they are categorical. They're factors. And so, but we can split it apart. So they're also known as what? The symbol right here, which technically is categorical. It knows how to handle it though, because of that. They're keys, exactly, Colton, they're keys. So to explore what the data is, you can take a look at these different data sets right here. So anytime you want to look at a data set, just put the question mark before it. And when you put the question mark, you can read all about the GAFA stocks right here, just the information on it. There you go right there. But explore what the series, using the help. What is the time interval of each series? So when we want to look at the time interval of each series, there's a quick way to look at that. I think we can just go here to the index of the GAFA. And its date, but let's go here to GAFA. And you can see the time index right here. Ooh, what's it doing? Oh, there it goes. It's just date. It's each day. Now, this one's a bit weird, though. The reason stock prices are weird is because stock prices are on trading days. So this one has a very weird series to it because it's not on a common interval. It's on trading days. So it is daily data that is on trading days. Does that make sense right there, Colton? Like the GAFA stocks are on trading days only, which is a bit of a weird series because sometimes you get these gaps. Yeah, fuel economy. Let me put that on the list right here. You got it. So this is a bit odd. Stat 201, Chapter 5, Part 2, I think fuel economy. Is that Chapter 5, Part 2 quiz question? I think it's Part 2, right? Or no, it's Part 1. And so we have a bit of an odd series right here. So I think people are wondering about this one. Use the filter to find out which days corresponded to the peak closing price for each of the 4 stocks. Okay. Part 1, yeah, I think so too. So with this right here, there's some really great functions we can do. With the filter function, we could actually filter each stock. And I guess we could also summarize. We want to find the peak closing price. I'll do this one, just kind of a good start for it. But let's think about what we have right here. Oops. So let's go to filter. And let's say symbol equals APL. Okay. So this is why we love using the dplyr methodologies, because now we just have the Apple stocks. And I bet we could do the following. Well, now that you have this data set, you could go here and do the following. Closing. Cool. Okay, so what do you want to do now? Well, I guess we could probably do this. No, it doesn't like that. Really? Really? I would have thought it would have done that. Oh, it kept the date. Kept the date. Well, could we just then go here and say it doesn't like that? Doesn't it's so mad. Or let me go here and go summarize. It doesn't like that. I like to do it in one step. There we go. We go here. That's one way. Will you be tested? Well, this is just data manipulation and knowledge. Does that make sense, Barrett, right there? This is like how to handle data, to work with it. Where would you like to type with these questions that require free responses? You can type anywhere you want. You can go down here and just tap away right there, just like a Word document. You can just, wherever you want, type out any sort of responses that you want. So if you want to go in sort of any sort of spot and just start typing responses, it's your call. Just think about this is the report your company wants and how to return it to the company and how to say it. There's quite a few ways. I'm just going to work on this one here for a little bit more because there's quite a few ways to do this. Frankly, you might want to go which.max and close, or no, AAPL close. And if we go to the close, there's the which max. And then we could go here. We could just go position. And then we could go here and go to the AAPL closed data set and go to that row, which we have saved. Oh my gosh, so many persistent things. And there it is right there. There's the date with the close. Does that make sense right there, Colton? Like that is the date with the highest closing of the Apple stock for the time frame given, which we should see over here if we go to the viewer. It looks like it's around that time if you see October. So in this time period, looks like over there. So if I zoom in on this, we would see the highest closing price should be, is that, oh, this is the open. This is open. So these are opens right here alone. It's not the close, but it is still in that region. You could probably group by. Yeah, I bet you let's do that. Let's go. Because if you're grouping by and then you summarize, I bet that'll do it. Because you should be able to summarize the close variable. That's what I was thinking. There's actually another way to do it without filtering. If you go here to aggregate, this is the way I would think of to start. If we aggregate the close based on, what is it called? The close based on symbol, close based on symbol, data equals GAFA stocks, and then fun equals max. Oh, what? Oh, is it mad because there it is, fun equals, oh, is it cool? You don't put so many different ways. There we go. And I believe this confirms to the same answer we had. Oh, What are we seeing a different? Oh, this is the APL. Yeah. So why does it want this for all 4 keys? Just for practice, just to understand how to get these. There's infinite ways to do it, just multiple ways to get the answer. You want to make sure you confirm like whatever answers you're getting. But it's just practice to see how to find things, to know how to find answers in data. Right here, the aggregate method works fine too. We should be able to do a summarize though. Like you should be able to summarize, like you should be able to group by. So we should be able to group by. And frankly, if the gradient ever takes off for work, let me know. We'll do one more version of solving. Group by. And then should be able to go to summarize, I think people are saying. Summarize. Mean or mean value. Let's go to, sure, now we're going to max value. Equals, I always forget some of them. Max equals max close. Ooh, that's not what we want. Ooh, it's not what we want. It's not what we want. Group by, let me cheat and look. Okay, summarize in dplyr. I don't use summarize every day. Literally, I've clicked on this one before. You have to review your knowledge at all times. Group by, so they're literally showing right here. They're showing the example. Drop in the example of what they're doing. Group by, no, we don't want, oh, that's why. Is that why? That's not what we want yet. So group by symbol. Okay, you would think that would work. And then mean equals this. Well, all B. It should. I would have thought if we group by symbol and max value, it's doing it by the date though. Close equals max, and then it would be lowercase. I think it's so close. If you want to message me it, I'm wondering what's wrong with it right now. Because this gives the following, and all it does is have an additional summary right there. So that's the mean for each. You could find the max for each cylinder. So group by, so gaffa stock, group by symbol. Symbol is spelled that way in the gaffa stock, right? Oh, that might be the issue. No, it's spelled that way. Okay, group by symbol. Max value equals max of close. Theoretically, I'm saying you code on Discord, it's similar to what you have right now. I figured out question 1 on, oh, nice job. We'll do that here in a second. Great job. Let me look at what Adam's sending. Yeah, what did I do different than you? If yours is working and mine is not, what do I have different? Okay, group by symbol, filter. Oh, so you're using a filter. Interesting. Oh, so you only took the max. Oh. And then here's what I would do. That works. Select, and then select close. There we go. I would do that right there. So there you go, Adam. Teamwork makes the dream work. And then I figured out a question. Yeah. So Adam, I would just add on that select close to select that certain column right there. What is going on with my summarize? What is going on? Filter the close such that it's the max of close. So you only took the value that's the max. That's a good way of doing that right there, Adam. So you filtered only the max of close, but you're doing it by that. Oh, you know what I think the issue is? Oh my gosh. I think we did it out of order. I think we have to group by symbol afterwards. Or it's just going to hate me. What did I not like about that? Groups must group by variables found in data. Oh, symbol? What? Sometimes. I just don't know. But we have come up with 3 separate answers for this right now. We have answer 1, which finds all of those. This is Adams and my method together. We have answer 2, which I think we found right here. That shows the same answer. And then we also have answer 3 right here, which shows the same answer. The biggest thing to do is it's not how you solve it, it's can you solve it. Does that make sense, Adam and Colton right there? This question to me, and graders should honor this, is not how you solve it, but can you solve it? And this is what we like to see with coding, is that people have different ways of solving things. There's more ways, and I'm like wondering why my other methodology is not working right now, but we already have 3 ways of solving this. So see if you can solve it different ways, practice solving it different ways. There's even the subset methodology of solving it. So you could technically use subsets. A solve is a solve when it comes to the question. Colton, can you message me on Discord? I'll send you this code. So just say hi to me on Discord real quick. Then we're going to go back to 201. But just message me real quick, say hi. And since we worked on this together, like I added to it and everything, I'm just going to send you this code right here. Just drag and drop it in. I think Colton's messaged me. Colton's messaged hi. And there it is right there. There's the code in the chat. Maybe there's a small typo, but might need to load a library. Yeah, dplyr library or something like that. Great job, Adam, right there. Let's head back to the main screen. Okay. Good work on some 475. Just infinite ways to solve problems, and I love it. That's the fun to me of solving problems. It's like, how many different ways can we solve it? What could we do to solve it? I have empirical question, but we never found out what question it is. People were saying they got question 1 or homework, so we're going to move that down. We have canvas content body temperatures next. Can you do the percent? Yeah, let's do that next. Percentiles on the normal curve is a big one. I'm going to move that up, then we'll do the canvas content. Here we go. The percentiles on the normal curve. I think that's a good place to start. So let's do some percentiles on the normal curve, Brianna. Good question right there. We got our normal curve applet up. We're going to bring up the question right here. And let's go take a look. And thank you, everyone, for being here. A lot of fun doing some 475. I love doing questions like that. And this is actually one of my favorite questions. See, I shouldn't say it because you're like, oh, why do you do this question? It's like literally one of my favorites. Up, here we go. We're getting our screen set up nice and pretty right here. And so 2 seconds. More than 2 seconds. Okay, so this is the percentiles on the normal curve question. Let's go check the timestamp again. Percentiles on the normal curve. Let's go check it out. Here we go. In my opinion, you can. On the test, you won't be able to, so I wouldn't, I'd know how to solve it without. So good question right there. I just have a slightly different opinion than, in my opinion, it's like, you're just working away on things. You have your resources. On the test, everything's closed notes, closed book, all that stuff right there. So Maria, great question right here on this one. So we need to think about, what is this showing us first? So we can draw this out without the applet. This is what I want people to know, because everyone's like, well, how would we solve this on the test? On the test, you could draw this out. A z-score tells us what? What does a z-score tell us? A z-score is how many what's something, I don't know, some good old David M. Lane. A z-score is how many something is what. What does a z-score tell us? Like, what's the point of a z-score? If I say the z-score is this, you'd say, oh, you're just telling me how many standard deviations something is above or below the mean. Exactly. So when we know that z-scores are standard deviations, we see what is the probability something is a z-score greater than 1.9, and we draw the following. We go to our curve, if we don't have the applet, and we do the following. We draw like this. We go here, we go 1, 2, 3, and we go right here to where 1.9 would be at. And here's what I want you to do for me. I want you to guess this area. I want you to guess it right now. I just want you to take a guess at it. So take a guess at this area. So don't try to be too exact. I just want you to guess. This is a z-score of 1.9. And I want you to guess what it is. Like 20%, 90%. I'm coming up with weird answers right here. Just guess at it. And we can take some pretty good guesses if we know the following. Between -2 and 2 is 95%. That means above 2 is 2.5%. That means this area should be a little bit what? 10's a little big. 10's a little bit big. This area right here should be what? That's using the empirical rule numbers, and it goes to -2 and 2. So this area should be a little bit what? I'm going to throw 100 points. Don't worry. Good guesses right there. This area should be a little bit what? This area should be a little bit more than 2.5. Does that make sense? So no, those are decent guesses. Those sometimes people say like 90%, and I'm like, that's 90% of the curve. So it's a little bit more than 2.5. Now we could probably guess something close-ish. Like here's our drawing of it right here, and maybe we say it's about 3.4% or 3.32. We go over here to the applet and we say, what is the area above and we go over here to the first button. What is the area above a z-score? And here's what z-scores are of 1.9. And our guess was 3.32. Was I close? You'd have been closer if you went even closer to it. Do you think this is kind of close? Like my guess of 3.32, which was a guess for the area shown here on the curve, was that close to the right answer? Yeah, it's close. Not saying it's right, but it's close. Ish. I'll take the ish right there for 100 points. Ish. It's a few hundredths off. So 2.87. Now here's the number one thing. Thank you, Leo, there, saying kind of close. The number one thing to know is when you do this problem, the first question is this button. The second question is this button. I bet you can't guess where the third question is going to be. So let's go look at the second question. It says the area below a z-score below 0.75. Does the area below 0.75 look like this? Well, we need below, right? So C or D. But where's 0.75 on the curve? Is the correct answer C or D? What does chat say? C or D? What do you think is the right answer? Would it be C or D? What do you think? It would be, careful. So it's going to be, it is C. Wow. Not joking. I mislooked. You are correct. It is C. I thought I mislooked. It is C. The answer is C. We are saying below 0.75, and 0.75 would be over here on the curve. So we can find out the exact answer to this by going here and typing it and getting the answer. So this is the exact answer to it right here. On the test, you might be given pictures of it, but make sure to copy and then put in your decimal, and there's the answer. Now, hey, Troy, so good to see you here, Troy. Which button do you think I'll click for question 3? 1, 2, or button 3? Which button do you think I'll click for question number 3, which says the area between, like the z-score between 1.4 to 0.95? Question number button 3, right? So we're going to click button 3 right here, and we're going to say the area between negative 1.4 and 0.95, and it shows us the picture, and that's a huge help for these, to see the picture, confirm the picture, and then take the area and make sure to input the decimal when doing it. The next one right here is the area outside of, it looks weird, but this is saying a z-score greater in probability than 1.45 z-score. So it's in absolute values. So if you had negative, that would be greater than it, and let's put the 1.45. Or if you had positive, anything outside of this boundary in terms of something more negative than this or something more positive than this would have an absolute value outside of 1.45. And so the probability of this is the area shaded on the curve, which is also the following picture, same picture as ours. And then we put here and we add in the decimal, and we should have that 100. Yes, we've done it. You're welcome, Briley. This is one of my favorite ones. It's when you understand the applet and the pictures better, it makes more sense to see what's going on. It's one of those when you're like, oh, I get what's going on. So how do we know the area percentage without using the applet? So all we can do is guess. Barrett, good question right there. I think we're going to do a Canvas content version right now of the body temperature question. I get it now. I didn't understand that we were just plugging it. Yes, awesome. Yep, Jacob, great job, Jacob, right there. Let's do a Canvas content question version right here. Got so much music doing. Let's do a Canvas content version. People were wondering about a Canvas content body temperature question. Let's check out that. You ready? Here's the, I have trouble using the applet. You're having, now I bet you, are you not hopefully right now? I hope we've helped with using the applet and it makes more sense to plug in the numbers and what it's doing. So let's check out a version of the body temperature question. I'm coming up with our own version right here. And so give me a second. Okay. Here's a Canvas content body temperature question. And let's go talk about how to solve it. You ready? Assignment 3, if there's time. Of course. Yeah, let me put that BS 320, right? Of course, Kayla. I'm gonna jump the line a little bit here. BS 320, assignment 3. Which part do you want to do? Question ... Just tell me which question if you want to start off. Just let me know. Let's go take a look at this here. Okay, we're doing some of the body temperature question right here. And this is a kind of similar version to what you'll be doing. Let's take a look. Let's do the first. You got it. Body temperatures, holding please for one moment, temperatures are normally distributed with a mean of 98.5 and a standard deviation of 0.5. Let's ask this first. Quick question right here. What percent of people are expected to have a body temperature above 99 according to the empirical rule? What percent of people are expected to have a body temperature of above 99 with the empirical rule? So this is a version where you don't need Kristen right there, 100 points. 16% Leo and Troy, and everyone's like, I can use the empirical rule. I got that empirical rule stuff down. Empirical rule is when you land directly on the z-scores, and I chose a z-score of directly 1. So I would usually mark my z-scores right here, and then we would get the exact answer of 16% obtained by saying 68% between here and here, and 16% right here. And let's add an additional part. These are people in the blank percentile of body temperatures. So what percentile, this is like an additional question to what I'm going to ask right here. The people up here are in the what percentile of body temperature? The people right here are in the what percentile? Someone with a 99 body temperature is in the what percentile of body temperatures? Now, this helps us understand the 84th. Exactly. So the top, great job, Leo. This is practice. Percentiles are the area below the curve. So since there's 84% below them, that is their percentile. Great job, Kayla, and everybody practicing. Love it. The 84th percentile means 84% of people are below you. Does that make sense what 84th percentile means? It means at this point right here, there are 84% of people below you. Now, this is going to help us with this question I'm coming up with here. Maria, you got this. Don't worry, Maria. 50%, 50 points right there. You got this. Good practice. Now I'm going to come up with a question where you have to use the applet. Okay, so same sort of information, but now we have to use the applet to solve because I'm not going to use the numbers on the empirical rule. So let's say right here, what is the body temperature, or what percent, let me say this, what percent of people are expected to have a body temperature above okay. That was found via the empirical rule, Barrett. Good question right there. That was the empirical rule. If we say 68% inside, 32% outside, 16% either hand, I can go back and check that out here in a moment. That was an empirical rule solved to it. So this right here, let me try to zoom in a little bit more. Trying to get everything all on one screen. Big question right there. So take a look. I think Kristen's got it right there. Kristen, you are right. Kristen, how did you get that? And the number one way to solve these is if you're given information like this, where it says 90, no, Kristen, that's wrong. Kristen, 100 points. Double check the work. Ish. If you say ish, you're closer. Ish is a good thing to add on to it. Ish. I see why you're thinking that. But let's take the information we have. So we have 90% is the area shaded. Now, where are we talking about? We're talking about this number right here, which goes to right there. Does that make sense? That number is right there. So we want to find out the amount above it. So we're looking for this right here. Does that make sense? This is what we are looking for right here. That's what we are looking for. Do you see what it is now? I think you might have another ish answer. We'll throw some points in chat. Who knows what the answer is now to this question? The 90s obtained from the applet. The 90s obtained from the applet right here. That would be obtained from the area shaded. That's telling you that's the percent of the area. Oh, no, Kristen, you're fine. I see. Yeah. So you have to know how to read the applet to say, oh, that's 90% shaded in the middle. Maria, is that making sense? This is where, like, understanding what it's communicating to you will help you solve the problem. Does that make sense right there? That is the middle 90. And now I'm seeing better answers in the chat that is going to be 5%. So with that being 5%, I need to work on my green screen. Some lighting change issues. So the 5% is what the answer is going to be. It's going to be 5%. Because what we need to do is if 90% is in the middle, what is total outside? What is total outside? So if 90% is in the middle, what is total outside? So now I'm just asking total. Don't think of it as one part. Just think of it as total. Total is what percent of area? Total outside is what? 10%. Great job, Jacob, right there. And then what would you do since this is symmetric right here? We're not really looking for this area down here, but since it's symmetric, you're going to do what? Since 90% is in the middle, you're going to say, well, then 90% is in the middle, 10% remains outside, and divide by 2 to get the 5% right here. And that's what we are looking for. That's why I've shaded it that color. Now we can change the question a little bit more. Great job, Caleb, Jacob, and Kristen right there. We can change the question a little bit more to say the following. What percentile are these people? So now we're asking what percentile are these people? And I want you to think about what percentile would these people be at right here. These people at this percentile, now they're not the 10%, those people at that percentile are the what? Percentile. Remember how percentile works? They would be body temperatures in the 95th percentile, the 95th. Why is it 95th? Great job, Troy, right there. Why is it 95th? So think about why it's 95th. The answer is 95th percentile. And why is it 95th? To find out what percentile are these people. Just think about communicating. Yeah, so no, this is practice. So they are in the 95th percentile. Because 95%, great job, Barrett, right there showing the mathematics, 95% of observations are below them. If you're working on a Canvas content, I hope this helps a lot. This is basically identical to the way the questions are asked, like with body temperatures and stuff, with the numbers given, where we could find the percentile or things like this. So very, very similar questions. Do people feel like, who's been doing some Canvas content, are like, okay, that makes sense now. Like I can take the areas on the outside, I just have to know what this is communicating to me. Like this is the middle 90%. So I think it's being communicated right here are very important, that these are the points being communicated on the curve, such that this point right here would be that point right there. But knowing what it's telling you is very important to see where it's at on the curve. And a lot of times writing it down or going through the steps will help a lot. So hopefully that makes sense. We could come back to another Canvas content example, but very similar. Can we do one where it gives you everything and asks you to find the observation would be a particular percentage? I think so. You're welcome, Jacob. Thank you so much, Jacob. So can we do one where it gives you everything and asks you? We'll do one more Canvas content. What if you're given the percentiles and you have to find the temperature at the 80th percentile? So we need to, I think Leo might be asking a similar one. Let me find a little music. Let me do a new question. Okay. New question. Okay, so Leo says, what if you are given the percentiles and you have to find the temperature of the 80th percentile? Okay. Okay. I'm gonna do a hard version of this question. I'll do it similar. I could do a harder version, but I want to basically mimic the thing. Okay, let's check this out. I'm trying to do a very similar question. Awesome. Yeah, same question. Cool. Okay. Okay, let me put another timestamp here. Canvas content, body temp 2. Good questions already, and thank you so much, everyone, for being here and practicing. Number one way to learn it. Examples. We do as many examples as we can. Part 2. Let's check it out. Here we go. Who knows the answer to this question? Take a moment right here. See if you can solve it. If you know how to solve these and you can do it quickly and you can just see the answer, you're good. Someone might say, wait, someone can just see the answer? Yeah, you can if you know what you're looking for. Does this look similar to what you have? What is the body temperature at the 80th, 60th percentile? So take a moment. Who knows the answer to this? Trying to add a GG title to my DM me your code on Discord. I bet I can do it. It might just be in the wrong place. So the number one thing to do is start labeling your graphic. Take the information you have and start labeling. If we want the 60th percentile, that means we need automatically know, and let's answer this. Troy, good guess. Good guess, sir, Troy. Good guess. And so, Troy, you're on the right track because something at the 60th percentile, 60th percentile must be where to the mean. 60, we do have a right answer in the chat so far. 60th percentile must be what to the mean. So let's first ask, '60th percentile must be what? Oh, Troy sees it now. 60th percentile must be this to the mean. Like, if it's the 60th percentile, it must be this to the mean. So if you are at the 60th percentile, you must be this. You must be above the mean. So we can start to narrow down our answers. When you've done that right there, and you know the 60th percentile must be above the mean, because percentiles is the area below the mean, only here is possible answers. So theoretically, if we're, theoretically, you could say like, well, if they're giving me something that helps me solve for answers, maybe I know which one it is now. Like, you could maybe just take a guess at it and be right. Does that make sense right there? So in 10% above the mean, right? 10% above the mean. So we might even, the good answers right there. Good stuff, Briley. So what percent of this curve is currently shaded? So can anyone just tell me what percent of this curve is currently shaded? A tiny, tiny little bit shaded. But what percent of that curve is shaded right now? What percent of that curve is shaded? So look at the information given, and what percent of the curve is shaded? 20%. Exactly. Great job, Leo and Kayla right there. 20%. So since it's symmetric, what are each one of these worth? And people are asking about the empirical way. Can we do one about area? That's the one we just did, Kristen. We could come back here in a little bit. The last one we did just earlier was like an area shaded one, which had us find the percentage, like what percent would be above this. So check out the previous question, and we did one very similar. We can come back to another one here too. So what percent would be outside? 40 on either side, Leo. You got it. So what's the interesting thing about 40 being above here? What's the interesting thing about that being the top 40? Because if we have the top 40, it's almost like below that is what? Like, and I have to really make it clear to say we're talking like total because of the shading right there. The top 40 is where the what is. The top 40 would be, at that point, there is what? 60% below, right? Below that, and so that is the 60th percentile. Meaning, when you're up here, there is 60% now below here. 60% of the curve. You have to make sure you understand we're shading that too. Oh, no worries. We can do outside, between, because when you do the between, the outside's just the remainder. So you could do the outside or the between. You just have to label your curve. So whenever you're given this area right here, like the between answer is where that spot is at. So just to kind of show, Kristen, great questions. Kristen, 100 points right there. Keep asking those questions. The answer is that spot, and there's the answer right there. So we've narrowed down the answer to that spot because this is where it is at. That is the top 40%. And so I think Kristen's starting to see it. Great job, Kristen. If you were given something like this right here, the 99.375 temperature, this is kind of a quick question right here. It just clicked. 100 points again, Kristen. Great job. What is the percentile for that right there? What is the percentile of that body temperature? Be very careful. Just tell me the percentile of this body temperature right here. Be very careful. I know there's a lot of numbers you might be juggling in your head as you're thinking about this, but I just want you to tell me the percentile of people at that body temperature. And when you say it, double check. You're really close, Leo. You're on the right track. You're on the right track, Leo. Be careful. So what percent, let me ask you this here. Let's break it. We're going to solve this. We're just asking, what is the percentile of that body temperature? And, no. We lost everybody. We're going to go back. We're going to do it. So the percentile of this body temperature, once again, what are we asking for percentile? We are asking what for percentile if we're talking about this body temperature. We want to know what to that body temperature. Here we can do another one. How do you type in those numbers? We'll do another one, Maria. Here, ask about a My Pearson one if you want, and we'll step through some of typing in the numbers. So, but just remember, what does percentile mean? Just break down what percentile is first. If we say, what is the percentile here? The area below it, right? So if this is, we want to find this area, right? Like we're wondering what area is below it. Now, this is not the answer, but we can find this right here. So what is that area above it? Who knows what the area above it is? So let's start using this information. That's not the answer for that, but that's the total area shaded. Barrett, you figured it out. Barrett's got it. Austin, I think you're on the right track. You've just got a decimal issue. You're on the right track. Oh, so now I think people are starting to see a click. We just do as many. So careful with decimals. Little decimal issues right here. So the area is out of 1. So 1 would be 100% of the area. Tell me as a percent right now. Like, just tell me as a percent right now. So let's all say percentage. Tell me percent of area right here. So tell me percent of area. Just as a percentage, that value right here would be percent what? 4%, Leo, yep. It's 4% because it's half of 8. So with that being 4%, what could you do to find the area here? Like a quick solve on it. The area there could be what? Exactly, Troy, you're seeing it now too. And we're just trying to get everyone on track. Who would say that eventually there's almost like a click moment when you're looking at it? And it's great job, Riley, right there, and Maria. There's eventually just, I think, a click moment for a lot of people, like Ashton's having that. You just start to see, you're like, oh, okay, wait a minute, that's 8% on the outside. That means each of those are 4%. And if that's 4%, there's 96% below it. All of a sudden, it just starts to make sense what you're seeing. It's like reading. You got it. This is a tough chapter, and we just try to hit you with as many examples as possible. And I switch up the examples. There's definitely a click moment. It's I hate to say it, it's just practice, and eventually you're just like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's how it works. And then you get to a test question, you're like, psh, haha, easy. But if you don't see it, it's just like, I have no idea what this is asking. It's a different language. So don't worry, we're going to do more examples of this. Let's hop back to the main screen. Okay, so we'll have more examples of that. But remember, a lot of people have that click moment. So don't worry. We're going to come back to more examples of that. We're going to do the weights of cattle. Then we're doing 320. So stay tuned for 320. Let me jump the line on 320. Thank you so much, everybody. Just really awesome office hours. We're going to do more applet stuff right here. Chapter 5, Part 2. This makes my day. People being here in office hours, asking all those questions. We get some click moments for some people. If you're not having that click moment, do not worry. We're going to work towards those click moments. And that's what we want. It's just like eventually, hopefully you see it. I know that sounds crazy. Oh, I know Kaya right there. Haircut Brian. I feel bad for yeah. The answer was 96. Barrett, great answers right there. Yeah, but there's always review of this, and we got all the timestamps. Yay, timestamps. Let's go talk about some weights of cattle. Okay. We're going to take guesses of this because we love some wrong answers. Let's head over back here to the main screen. Weights of cattle. Okay, so this is the weights of cattle question right here at the 1 hour mark. And thank you so much. Lots of great questions. Okay, so we see that the weights in the capital N stands for normally distributed with a mean of 86. And we could probably take some guesses. So the highest 10% is the what percentile? The highest 10%, we're just going to guess at this first, then we're going to solve it. The highest 10% is the what percentile. The highest 10% would be the what percentile. So if I say you're in the highest 10% of the class, you'd be in the what percentile? 90th. That means you're above average. So I think, solving in my head, trying to solve this one in my head. I'm going to be way off, I bet. I'm going to say right here about that. The lowest 20% is below average. And so the lowest 20% would be something, I'm just taking guesses. I might get one right. Let's hope. The lowest 20%, oh, I do know that one. Oh, I do know that. No, I don't know that Z-score off the top of my head. Ooh, so I must have talked about 70. There's that. That's a guess. These are all guesses. These are all guesses because that's below average. And the middle 40%, so let's go here and go about to this and go about to this. Now, if I get this, I'm just going to throw out 500 points if I get it, 200 points if I don't. What do people think? If I get above a 50, I'll throw 500 points. Here we go. You ready? 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, that's a bummer. Let's see how close I was. So sometimes I can guess these. Sometimes I can't. Yeah, I know people are just going to input my answers right. Oh, it's above average. It's below average. So where do we need to go? Someone tell me, okay, Brian, you can't solve these by hand. You need to go where? Who can help Brian out as Brian gets his screen loaded up? Where do we need to go to actually solve these? It's important to theoretically understand where the answers are coming from, but where do we need to actually go to solve these? Someone put that, oh, we got it in the chat right there. That's where the 100 points right there. Use the David M. Lane applet, and you're seeing Mubot drop that in the chat right there for us because Mubot's awesome. So let's go check out the David M. Lane applet and get the real answers to the question now. So once again, it's good to take some guesses, but just to understand how the curve works and to see if you were close, that'll help you with your theoretical knowledge, but you will see pictures on the test or use the applet for the assignment. So we have the applet up. The link is in the chat currently. So we need to be here on the second button. This is key. Be on the second button. And then go here and enter in the mean of 1,159 and the standard deviation relative to your curve of 86. Now you can see the distribution drawn out for you. When you do this question, you can actually solve for the top 10% by finding the 90th percentile. We were way off. It's 1269, but we're above average. I don't know, bad guess, but not horrible. So right here, 1269 is the answer. It says round to 1 decimal, so we need that decimal. And there's the direct answer. You could also have done the top 10% to solve this like this. Do note, Brian was off 100 points for class. Class was not off. I was way off. He was like, I did not make that guess. You made that guess. That was off. I was pretty close. The class didn't even attempt. I'm kidding. Next question right here on the lowest 20%. Is that the lowest 20%? Now, I was kind of close on this one. I'm very proud of that guess if you look at that. Was I kind of close? Yes. And is that the lowest 20%? This is where you might be a little bit confused. Why is this currently showing the lowest 20%? Because it's showing the top 80%. Yes or no in the chat. Do you understand that currently the curve shows you the lowest 20%? Currently, this curve shows the lowest 20%. That's an important thing. Leo gets right there. Yep. Does this curve show you? Not yet. Does that curve show you the lowest 20%? And if you can't see, here's the answer. Does the curve on the screen right here still show you the lowest 20% right here? It actually does, because if 60% is in the center, 40% is total outside, and then you would have 20% down here. Now, if I do the outside, how could I find the lowest 20% here by doing outside? What number would I have to put in here to find the lowest 20% by doing the outside? Now, this is just alternative solves. But what number would I have to put in here to find the lowest 20% by using outside right here? What number would I have to put in to find the lowest 20%? I don't suggest this method of solving, but I could use the outside to find the lowest 20%. I would have to put in not 80. That'd be the lowest 40% right there. So that's the lowest 40%, because think it's the total shaded outside. So the lowest 20% could be found by finding, by doing this. 40, Briley, great job. And there's the lowest 20%, because remember, this is going to cut it in half. There's 40% total, so you'd cut it in half. Now, once again, the easiest solve for this is to do the following, and you'd get that answer right there, and that is the answer on the screen. So how would we find the middle 40? We'll go right here. And there's the middle 40. Not too far off. And this says round to 1 decimal again. Hopefully I haven't typed in a wrong number like that. Oh my gosh. 12041. That should do it. Yes, there we go. Does this, hopefully showing the applet and showing different alternative solves makes some more sense. There's just many ways to solve this. It all depends on your way of solving it. It's actually so easy and quick to do. Yes, exactly, Leo. That's why we just do, like, do you understand what's going on? Because I could just go through here and be like, okay, let's do another one right here. We've got this one right here. We've got to put in the information. We want these percentiles. So once you understand it, we just go here to this. We type in the standard deviation. We want the 67th percentile, and the 67th percentile is the below. Let's copy paste the answer, round to the nearest whole number there. We want the 94th percentile, and the 94th percentile is the area below. We copy paste the answer right here, and we go right there and do that. And then the IQR is the middle 50%. And so if we do the between for the middle 50%, we need the distance these two numbers are away for the IQR. So we need to subtract those. 1198.332 minus this right here, because it's the distance those numbers are away. And there we go, round to nearest whole number. And that's it right there. Check answers, 100%. Does that make more sense? And the empirical rule wouldn't be used there because we're not on the exact numbers to Barrett's question. So Leo, we just solved that really quickly. Very similar question, asking the percentiles, which are the areas below, and then using the applets. To find the IQR, you would do the middle 50%. So when this one says, what is the IQR? We can do the middle 50% and then take Q3 minus Q1. You could also find those values by doing, Q3 right here. That's Q1. Well, there's Q3, there's Q1, respectively. And then you could subtract those numbers. So great work right there. We're going to do a little 320 and come back to some 201. Great practice, great work. Excellent work, everybody. It's really, it just comes down to practice. Leo stated it perfectly right there. They're easy when you understand them, but they're not if you don't. That's why I warn about chapter 5, and I'm like, this is a tough chapter. Chapter 5 is where a lot of people just say, I can't do this, but I don't want you to have that fear. Chapter 5 is conquerable. Leo has shown us. Leo has said, you can do this. He didn't say that, but I'm saying. If with chapter 5, it's very, I'd say, conquerable, but it's tough. It takes a lot of practice. You can do it. I have confidence in you. Okay. I'm super close to getting it right. Yeah, Barrett, we'll come back to another one. Barrett, do you have a question you want to do? We could pick your question next right here. Barrett, let me know which question you want to do next, and I want you to have that. Oh my gosh, you can do it. Leo's saying right there for 100 points. You can do it. You'll get you to that aha moment. So just keep asking those questions. And so Barrett, drop another question in the chat. We can probably do that next right here. Let's start out. I need to pull up the book right here. And we need to get the book. The book. Homework packet book. Okay. We got the book ready. Keep doing problems with chapter 5. Show us. Yay, Kayla. All that positivity. We love that. Here we are with some BAS 320. Starting off the assignment. Take a timestamp down. Kayla, thank you so much. Start of question right here. Okay. Oh my gosh, Leo figured it out in 20 minutes. Leo, that is a speed run right there. Leo, some points. Okay. Leo, great work. So we have right here, we're loading up the EX2 census data, page 72 of the book, and we're doing exercise number 5, page 72. Okay. Go. Page 72, exercise 5, right here. The government conducts a census every 10 years, but not everyone responds. Follow-up workers interview the people who don't mail back their form to intelligently allocate workers. I can't speak. We need to figure out which quantities are associated with the response rate. Okay, so if people respond, that's the variable of interest. We want to predict response rate. What 5 variables are most strongly correlated? So this actually gets to 201. We were just talking about correlation in 201. Now here's the thing. In 201, we'd go over here to jump. What do I have open in jump? In 201, you'd go analyze, multivariate methods, multivariate, and you could actually do the correlation the following way. This is not how we're going to do it, but we'll see it here in a second. We could take all the data right here and do the following. Kayla, is this easy to look through right now? Kayla, what do you think? Is this? I want you to tell me the most correlated thing right here in this correlation matrix. A correlation matrix gives you the correlation between each of the variables, whether you call this one X or Y, and tells you the correlation between someone's high school GPA and age is negative 0.1068, which is a negative correlation like the older people are, the generally lower GPA we see. Older people have lower GPAs. And if I told you, find me the strongest correlation in here, could you find it pretty easily? Like, just, I want you to find it. 500 points person finds. I shouldn't do that. That's mean. Can anyone find the strongest correlation? It's not easy, is it? No, it's not me. 100 points right there. Not me. I agree. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Well, we got to have better ways, right? We got to have better ways of doing this. This is why we have coding. And what we have in coding right here, we want to use the all correlations functions. I feel like a meme, like run all the correlations. So that loads up red class. We got the x2. Let's use the all correlations right here. What do you think all correlations does? Like, any idea what the function all correlations does? If you had to describe for me, what do you think all correlations is going to do? If I run all correlations, it's probably going to give me what? Like, you can read what it says it does too. Like, what do you think the function all correlations will do? Just like probably does this then. Shows all the correlations. That's where the 100 points. It's going to show all the correlations. So let's do this. There's all the correlations. Every single correlation. So many. There was 570 correlations excluded. Here's every single correlation. Now, you might say, well, this isn't really better, right? Like, well, okay, now you just put them in a line. Like, you just listed out every single thing right here. But weren't we interested in response rate? Like, we wanted to understand response rate. So how about we add another what, Kayla, here? By doing a comma, we have added another what right here. By doing a comma, and here's the new output. I'll make it small so we can just see it. By doing a comma, we have added another what to this. By doing a comma, we've added another what. So by doing a comma, we've added another what to this function. Good terminology. Be like, oh, just add another this, another argument, another points right there. So we've added another argument, which is more instructions on what to do. So we say, well, do all the correlations, but I'm only interested in this variable, right? But if only there was some way to what this list. I want you to think about like, not order, but if only there was some way to what this list, because we want to find the ones with the strongest magnitude. Now, I did say strongest and I did say magnitude. But to find what's most strongly correlated, we're actually talking about the magnitude of it. So strength is how close it is to -1 or 1. Oddly enough, strongly correlated would be in terms of magnitude. So what could I do to this? Not order it. I mean, it is ordering it, but think of another word. What we do to things, we would something. And I'll show you, we can look at hints if we go over to all correlations. If you ever add this, delete it afterwards. But what could we do to it? I'm not blocking it right now. Not kind of. We could do that here in a moment. We could what it. I'm adding another argument. I could what it. I could use what argument right here. What is an additional argument I could add to this to say, oh, I want this thing to be whatted? Sorted. Yep. When you type sort, it's going to autocomplete. This has to be in quotes with, and you might even like go magnitude. If you mistype it, it's going to be wrong. And now look at this. What do you notice is here at the top? The correlations that are closest to 1 or -1. Also the ones that are the most statistically significant. So we can see the top 5 things. Now you have to be very careful when you think about this. Or you could just, Kayla, do you know a function that could, do you know a function, Kayla, that could just get me the top 5 very quickly on this? Like, I don't want to report the full thing. I don't watch out on the excessive output. But what could I do to get the top 5, like, super quick to say, just give me the what of this? I'm giving a hint on this. Like, there's a lot we could do to it. One way to do it is the following. Oh, that did not. Oh, not that. That will work. But also, you could ask for the what of this. So you could ask for the what of this right here. The head, exactly. So if you were to store it into X, you could go right here and say head of X. And then you could put the second argument 5. And this does give the same output. Once again, we were talking about in 475 a moment ago that there's many different ways to do it. Exactly. And make sure to use the argument 5 on it, because then that says return the top 5. Like head gives you the starting things of either a vector or a data frame. Do you have time to go over the road race question on Canvas Content 3? I'm confused what to area. The road race. Let me find. I'll do a similar problem to that. I bet we can. Canvas content's been the top thing of the day. I bet we could. We did the cattle. We didn't do fuel economy, and I think people figured that out. We also did that in a video last week. So let me try to find that Canvas content. Canvas content one. Let me go do that. So we didn't get to these. So many great questions. So let's go here to Canvas content. Canvas content. Road race. Okay. Oh, is it the... Oh, is it... I think it's an empirical rule one, right, Cassandra? And so, Kayla, does this help you out on using the all correlations function? And so, yeah, I know, right? Canvas content is the theme of the day. So right here, you'll notice that there are instructions on how to use this and what it does. Giving this a glance over and seeing the different arguments that we could do Pearson or Spearman or both, the variable we're interested in, and you see examples of using the code right here and how to run the all correlations function. The reason we do this is it's a lot easier to look at than like tons of output. If we don't do the interest, we wouldn't get all the variables. If we don't sort it, then it won't sort the list for us. But this right here can tell us the top 5 pretty quickly from tons of combinations of pairwise like X and Y variables. So these are all the correlations, only the top 5 correlations sorted by magnitude based on only the response rate being the variable of interest. So this is a great way to do it right here and gets you all the answers. And that's why we code, because then we can be like, oh, what's the top 5 variables? There's the answers right there. Let's head back, do some Canvas content. Wrong button. 30 minutes till class time. Road race questions. Let's go take a look at some of those. Road race questions. Okay, I think these are like normal distribution empirical ones. Correct me if I'm wrong. These are empirical rule. Visualization 4 pivot. Trying to figure out. I might put the pivot visualization due on Tuesday next week. I need to change that. Pivot visualization due on Tuesday for my classes. That'll work better with our workflow. Ooh, it is Canvas content due tonight. Okay, let me go get a version of this. Up. So here we go. Okay. Awesome. See you later for the activity. Great stuff. Here we go, Cassandra. Let's go take a look at this right here. Okay, we're doing some Canvas content road race questions. And so these are a specific type of question when you're doing them on the test. These are going to be ones where you use the empirical rule to solve them. And when would we use the empirical rule? When would you use the empirical rule, which is the 68, 95, 99.7 rule? When would you use the empirical rule? When would you use the empirical rule? Does anyone have any sort of like, we should probably use the empirical rule when? When would we use the empirical rule? So it's a good, like, when on the test would you expect to use the empirical rule? And we'll draw some hints down here. We draw the normal curve with 3 standard deviations on each side of the mean. So the mean is at a z-score of 0. It's about where the center of the curve is at. Decent drawing today, not perfect. But we go for decent some days. And so we would use the empirical rule when? When would the empirical rule apply to problems? Now, the mean of this curve is 25. The standard deviation is 3. We've drawn the standard normal curve, but we can put the context curve, which is the numbers, right here. We use the empirical rule when? When is the empirical rule used? Make sure I get the right numbers on here. The empirical rule is used when what? Who can 100 points in the chat if anyone knows when do we use the empirical rule? And we use the empirical rule would apply. The empirical rule is used when we fall directly on a z-score. The empirical rule is used when we fall directly on a z-score. So it's asking about 28 minutes. 28 minutes is right here. Lands Alea right there. Amazing answers. Exactly. Falls directly on a z-score. Right answer. So you can see that somebody having a time of 28 minutes is directly on the z-score right there. So that means we're looking for this area right here. This is where we need to know the numbers 68, 95, 99.7, and we would do the following. 68% is contained within here. Then we can find the area outside. And the area outside is going to be 32%. I'm trying to do number 2 on the canvas. It can be all different. Can you explain to me the problem a little bit, Grayson? We've done some versions or similar questions today. But if you explain to me a little bit, I might point you to one of the problems we did earlier because it might be very similar. We've been doing kind of similar problems and kind of doing variants on them. So this question right here is a variation on what you could see because there's many, many different ways to ask this. Ask this right here. So what percent would the answer be for this problem right here? So who knows what the answer would be for this problem right here? We're just doing some visualization to help understand what we're seeing. There's the mean, there's the standard deviation. And the answer we are looking for is this area right here. That's the area we are looking for. So a good way to do it is to say we're not looking for 16%. 16% is above here. So what would be the area below that green line? So the area below that green line is the sum of the areas. And everyone's canvas content is different, Grayson. So if you explain a little bit, I might be able to help out or to point you in the right direction. We did a lot of canvas content examples earlier. And so we have these canvas contents over here. Oh, thanks, Zach. I appreciate that. 100 points for there, everyone, for positivity. I appreciate that. New haircut today. Short hair Brian for a little bit. His hair will grow out again. So what would this be right here? What percent of runners are expected to be below 28 minutes? What would this be? Who knows? Mean body temperature. We'll put on. We got our thinking music. We've got some problems from earlier, Grayson, because I'm going to grab some lunch here in a second. We were doing some problems earlier during office hours that are very, very similar. This was the one we were doing earlier. Very, very similar. We'll start chapter 6 today. Yep. We'll start chapter 6 today. Chapter 6 starts today. Chapter 6 starts. Whoops. So with this problem right here, what percent of runners are expected to be slower than 28 minutes or have a time below 28 minutes? I shouldn't say slower. That actually would be a different way of asking it. What percent of runners will have a time below 28 minutes? So we've got the visualization right here. What percent of runners are expected to have a time below 28 minutes? Does anyone know? Who knows? And then we'll do a variant of it. We'll do different versions, different variations of the question. So this would be 84%. Because 84% would be below here, does it have to be greater than 68? Well, yeah, because great job right there. Good question. We would add together these areas. It's basically 100 minus 16 is 84. Does that make sense right there? 100 minus 16 is 84 because we're not interested in this area. We want the area below. So if we subtract from 100, we could do it that way. Or you could do 16 plus 84. Like you could add together these areas right here and get 84% that way. So there's a few different solves. So what if I asked you the following instead of doing it this way? Awesome. Great work. What if we asked the following similar question and said above, let's say above, this is a tougher one. A lot of people get this one wrong. Above 16 minutes. So now when we do this, who has a guess of this? I'll throw 100 points. Let's see if we can take a guess. See if you can figure this one out. A lot of people get this one wrong. So above 16 minutes, first thing you want to do is graph it. Because think about if your answer makes sense first. So above 16 minutes, we want to like graph it first to see if it makes sense. Decent guess, decent guess. I'm gonna throw 100 points for a decent guess right there. So we are right here. What number goes through your mind when you hear 3? What number goes through your mind when you hear 3? When you hear 3, 68, 95, 99.7. What number on the empirical rule goes through your mind when you hear 3? Like if I talk about 3 standard deviations out, you would think of what number on the empirical rule? So if you think of like 68, 95, 99.7, you'd think of what number on the empirical rule when you hear 3? Zach, you're on the right track. Zach, you're on the right track. Zach, you're You're getting somewhere with it. That's not correct, but you've got a part of it. So the number you should hear is 99.7, and that is the area between here and here. And so that's closer, Zach. You're close. And so Zach's figured out something, because we want to know the percent area above it. So we are interested in this, Zach. I think, Zach, you're about to solve it. We're interested in this. So we are not interested in Zach, do you see it now? You're on the right track, Zach. I think you'll about see it. You're really close. Because remember, the area of 0.15 is the area outside of it. This is one of the hardest versions of it that we can do. Like, I'm trying to do like the hardest versions to end office hours here. So what does anyone see the answer? That's correct, Zach. You're right. Because you could do the same thing of like 100 minus 0.15, or you could just add these numbers, and you want to confirm that works, because both of those should converge to the same answer. And then just graphing it shows you it is a large percentage of the curve, 99.85. So make sure what you're doing works. You're either subtracting off this area we're not interested in, or we are, so we'll put a dark red area here. This area we're not interested in. You would subtract that off the curve, or you would say 99.7 plus that 0.15. Is this making more sense right here, Zach? Always try to draw it out on the paper and be like, does this look like the right answer if I'm talking about the percent? So that should help right there when we talk about what the answer could be. And that's like a harder version of the question. But the number one thing to do with these questions is to draw it out, and then look at your answers and look at where it's out on the curve, especially with the drawings we have from class. So that's got it. Well, it's going to be time for class here in 18 minutes. Any other last things? If you weren't here earlier, you got the hiccups. If you weren't here earlier, I had the hiccups. Well, I didn't. Here's what we did earlier. So check out earlier parts of the video. We were doing other Canvas content, body temperature questions. So we did multiple variations of those right there. Yeah, exactly. And so we just did some empirical rule versions of the question. There you go. Here we go. Canvas content, road race. So these are like empirical rule versions. These are David M. Lane questions. So we basically did the two versions of ways you're generally questioned. Well, activity help today, Jack. Today, Jack, we'll be doing it here at 4:30 your time. Check it out on the main channel. Where is it? Go over here. Thanks for tuning in. It says on my channel. Here it is, right here, weekly activity help right there. We postponed the panel, date to be announced on the panel. So check that out right there, the weekly activity help right there, coming up here in a little bit. That'll be 4:30 your time. Check out the activity help, hop on in, ask those questions. And that's got it. Well, until then, we'll be back later. Bye for now, everyone. Bye. See you later, Jake. See you then.